Hey magic people, Solomon AD here. Kind of like a sequel to my last one. Not talking about the spirits per se. I want to talk about the pentacles. So classic pentacles such as First Pentacle of the Sun, Solomonic style pentacles, right? What I have noticed working with them, and I've worked with them in a very kind of, it's definitely not by the book. What you can how you can operate with them one way is you're kind of channeling the force or the current of those entities more so than a personified version of them. So like when I use First Pentacle of the Sun, for instance, right? I'm not necessarily using it to call Metatron or Yod-He Vav-He. I'm using it to tap into their energy source and direct it. So I kind of like bypass the actual entity and connect straight into their energy source. Now the argument comes in, there's one perspective that these entities are just conscious energy sources anyways. Tomato tomato with all this. All this is a grain of salt. No gnosis is absolutely 100% like true and should be taken as gospel. Kind of funny how we're still killing each other over religion, which is just founded on other people's gnosis. And we treat it like fact. Anyway, I digress. I feel, though, that this example is much more prevalent when using those pentacles, that you're tapping into an energy source. Another example I've used it, and this is a shout out and a recommendation to Alison Chakowski and her page Practical Occult Jewelry. She gifted me with 2 Martian pentacles. Actually, oh no, it was actually 4 because they're double-sided. These Martian pentacles, used for all things Martian, they work. And the way that I've seen them work is more so it uses Martian current. Her pentacles work very well. She consecrates them like to the nth degree, and I can't recommend them enough. But I've used them to very practical degrees. In fact, one of them, the best way I use them, this is custom tailored towards my path. I wouldn't recommend this way, and this isn't like a classic styled spell with them. It's I used it because it's a Martian pentacle. Samael's name is on one of the pentacles, and I was able to get possessed by him fairly easily with the pentacle. Along with some other tricks, but it definitely helped. It was definitely a main conduit. It was definitely like the USB port into Samael. So, yeah, another cool thing about the pentacles, and again, Alison Chakowski is the foremost authority that I know of regarding pentacles. The Solomonic Pentacles. Once you've built a rapport with them, kind of like when you build rapport with like other spirits, they show you a different side to themselves. Like they may show you themselves and other pantheons. And what was revealed when using the pentacles is that you may actually summon entities from different pantheons that are not of the angelic, strictly the angelic current. So you may get entities that show up to help you because you're holding the pentacle, from Greco-Roman Egyptian pantheons. Now, I have experienced this with the First Pentacle of the Sun. So the First Pentacle of the Sun, a few things had shown up, or maybe not in a spell, but they definitely came up as a result of me using the First Pentacle of the Sun. These entities were like, this is why I actually compiled my tattoo of the First Pentacle of the Sun. It's not only the First Pentacle of the Sun. It's 2 holy names of Allah. It has John Dee's Monad Hieroglyphica. because these energy currents correspond very well with the energy of the first pentacle of the sun. They basically come from the same energy source. The Monad Hieroglyphica, in one way, is just a planetary model of the Tree of Life. Allah and El Shaddai, here, El Shaddai in Hebrew, and then this is Al-Azim and Al-Majid. Those correspond to essentially the Godhead, right? Right hand path, JCI Godhead. So you can get Allah when you use it. You can get Metatron when you use it. Here's the other thing that gets really trippy, and I'm not suggesting that you do this, but it happens. With the first pentacle of the sun, I have tapped into Brahman from the Hindu pantheon. I have tapped into Itzamna from the Mayan pantheon. I've tapped into Obatala from the West African Santeria Orishas. Oh, who else? Basically, any deity that is associated with the color white and wisdom has an elderly appearance and sits on a chair that resembles wisdom. And it typically rules like scrying or scribing. And is typically regarded as like one of the highest next to the Supreme Godhead or the leading Godhead. So Obatala is closest to Olodumare, Brahman's as high as they get. Izamna is closest to, there's varying debates, Hunabku, the cosmic monster. Who else did I mention? So Brahman, Obatala, Izamna. Those are the main ones. But there's some other ones. Like, just think of any pantheon where they correspond. So, like, if you use the Martian pentacle, right, you may get Aries, you may get Mars, instead of Samael or Camael, and so on and so forth. So if you use a Jupiterian pentacle, you may get Zeus, you may get Thor, something like that. I personally don't like crossing over pantheons so willy-nilly, but it's happened. I may explore it deliberately more in the future, but I think it's really cool. And I think it says something about how the cross between cultures and these currents are much more fluid than we think. But at the same time, they're very distinguished. Because I wouldn't feel completely kosher calling on an, let's say no. I wouldn't feel completely kosher calling on a Hindu god by way of a Hebrew pentacle, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's completely taboo. I'm not saying it's going to be completely effective. I think it would be, but anyways, that's my 2 cents. Those are my observations thus far. If you got any questions or anything, shoot comments below. Whatnot. Please like, share, and subscribe. And may that serve you well.